Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Deal with D and J. I'm your co-host, Jacob Pearl. Alongside me is the DJ Magnificent McCatherine. How are we feeling tonight? We got a lot to talk about and kind of an eventful week in sports here. First and foremost, though, how are we? What's new in your world of DC?
The world of DC, it's just getting colder. It's actually fluctuating right now, which is kind of annoying, where it gets to about 45 degrees at night, and then it shoots up to about 70, 72, which isn't bad, but when you dress for the cold, and in mid-cold it gets warm, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying.
Trust me, I feel you on that, brother. I mean, Texas cold ain't DC cold, but we're dealing with the same type of fluctuation right now, so it's not exactly fun times.
No, what
right
about
now.
you? What's going on?
Just getting ready for basketball season down here, man. Baylor had women's basketball had a big upset win in Paris. We upset number 7 Duke, so I'm really excited to see what this team looks like. I know it's awesome. I can't wait to see what it looks like. We got a great theme. We got Wicked on Sunday, a Wicked themed game. Can't wait.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish your thought.
So can't wait to see that. To answer your question, yes, I have seen the movie.
No, not the movie. I haven't seen part 2, so don't spoil it for me.
It hasn't come out yet.
Oh, okay. Even better. Have you seen the new? I've seen it in women's basketball games only, but as soon as one of the home teams hits 67, all the kids go 67, and it turns to an absolute chaotic arena. Have you seen the clips of it?
Yeah, it's so dumb. I hate it.
But it's so funny.
Come on,
it's just a bunch of middle schoolers.
For the kids, it's hilarious, but it's rough. I have a coworker who he's like a full blown like father, and every meeting he tries to sneak in a 6'7" joke, and I'm just like, you're gonna make me jump out this window today, but I will be respectful for you. That is what I am scheduled to do here. But let's break it down, DJ. Let's talk here. Where do we want to start? We want to start NFL, college football, MLB. Where do we want to go here?
I mean, the day that we're recording this is the day after the first college football playoff rankings. I figure that's an appropriate place to start.
Yeah, DJ, let's talk about it. The first 2025 college football playoff ranking came out Tuesday. First, normally when the committee comes out with stuff, normally there's a lot of controversy, a lot of concern. You're kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? How do we feel? And to me, I think the committee did a wonderful job. Personally, I think this might be the first time in a long time that I can say that. I think they looked at everything in an incredible way. And what frustrates me as somebody who I get frustrated when people, talk about, well, so it's like, we're going to talk about Miami Notre Dame here. This is a good example. And they're like, well, the head-to-head matters. And it's like, okay, I do agree with you. The head-to-head does matter. Well, but who has Notre Dame played? Well, Notre Dame has played A&M, Miami, USC. They're going to play Pitt, right? They had
Arkansas.
They played a Navy team this weekend, right? They played Arkansas. They played Purdue. They played NC State.
Right.
And so everyone's sitting here just kind of like, well, Miami should be ranked ahead of Notre Dame. And it's like, I don't think it's as simple as that, right? I think when you watch Notre Dame in this current iteration of Notre Dame, they are better than Miami at this moment in time. And I think that's where I wish people would understand the logic and the understanding of the rankings. It's not about, yes, the season does matter. And it does incredibly. But at this current moment in time, Miami, it can't figure it out, right? They lost to SMU, who has 3 losses, and they lost to Louisville, who is ranked ahead of them. But if we're going to talk about like-minded wins, right, Notre Dame should be in front of them because they smoked NC State. And Virginia and Georgia Tech lost to NC State, who are now ahead of Miami in the ACC. So if you start doing the logic, because we can pick and choose bits and pieces everywhere to justify the argument. But when you watch Notre Dame with your eyes, Notre Dame is better than Miami right now. Right now. And that's what you have to take into consideration sometimes. And I feel like overall this committee got it right. the ACC is a one bid league right now. It's going to be a one big league. They're in no man's land, and we're probably going to get a mix of Virginia, Louisville, or Georgia Tech to fight for that one spot. So that's going to be really interesting. Iowa's ranked. Respect that move, because Iowa's not ranked in the AP poll, right?
Correct.
You have Pittsburgh, who is ranked 24, who's not in the AP poll as well.
Also correct.
I don't agree with Tennessee being ranked. I think that's just SEC bias showing its head. And I think overall, I was on the Green Dong podcast with Hunter, and I was like, you would take Notre Dame against most of these teams. And he was like, no, I'm going to take Vanderbilt over Notre Dame and all these different things. And I'm like, I just don't see that. Vanderbilt just got they just got destroyed by Texas, who we all thought was terrible.
Texas is terrible.
So, but then the logic for some people, for some of them, they just want it black and white. They want it to be, well, Miami beat Notre Dame. They have the same record. Miami should be in front. And it's like, I don't agree with that, because Miami's schedule is just as bad as Notre Dame's. You played Bethune-Cookman, and you played Florida State, who isn't that good. You played a Florida team who also isn't that good, but you give them the SEC, ACC bias. A USF team, which was a good team, and then you lose to Louisville, and then you lose to SMU. It's kind of on the same plane as Notre Dame, but their losses are to A&M and Miami, who are both ranked in high-quality wins. Win over NC State, win over Boise State, win over SEC Arkansas, who isn't that good, right? A ranked win over USC, and a good win over Boston College. When you look at it, and you can make the argument, people just want to be mad for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, I liked where they ranked Notre Dame. I think, again, initially that it's a good ranking. You've got to understand that Miami's on a downfall and Notre Dame is on a rise. I think that's just what it is. I think one that did surprise me, again, I'm going to pick on Texas, was because they have been one of the worst-looking teams in college football. Their offense has found a stride. I will give them that credit. But as a team overall, they haven't looked good. Texas was supposed to come in and be the best defense, arguably, in college football. Maybe second to Penn State's defense coming into the season, right? They started off pretty well, and their offense was the biggest struggle. But even if you look at their last 4 games, right, 23-6 against Oklahoma. And that game was not fun to watch. It was boring, but Oklahoma was on a high, and Texas really put a stop to it. Was that Mateer's first game back, right, from his injury? 3 interceptions. So the Oklahoma offense did not do well. That was coming off of a loss at Florida, 13 win at Kentucky, 45-38 win at Mississippi State, and then 34-31 with a Vanderbilt basically storm back in the last few moments. So that game was a little bit further than the score predicts, but, I mean, they still let that game become approachable. So this Texas team, they're really holding on to, or the rankings are looking at their losses, right? One being at Ohio State, and then just 2 very close top 10 teams that are arguably overrated for what they are in this season as a whole. Vanderbilt's lost to their 2 biggest competitors this year in Texas and Alabama, and Oklahoma, after Mateer's injury, they weren't the same coming back. So, and then everything else has just been mediocre for Texas. So I think, I like what they did with Texas and Oklahoma, but I just don't like where they're placed in this lineup. I think there are teams that are better than them in this thing. I think Georgia Tech could go head to head with Texas or Oklahoma. I think USC could do very well against them. Louisville could put up a good fight. They've been one of the more inconsistent teams. I thought they were very, very high up there for where they were. But like you said, I like for the most part what they did in this list. I like how they looked at certain teams, and I don't have a ton of complaints. And it's only the first one. So did this ranking tell you anything about what they think of the top 3 teams and kind of what they justify? We heard, I don't know if you watched it live, but They talked about a lot of the ESPN, the indexes, if you will, right? Texas A&M was basically number one in all of them, but they're the number 3 ranked team. Indiana has, in similar opponents to Ohio State, has looked better in those games, but Ohio State is still the number 1 team. To you, Jacob, did the placement of the top 3 teams kind of say to you?
It says to me that they view Indiana and Ohio State in a much higher tier than the SEC right now. And I don't know if it's the A&M issue where, like, they've had some good wins, but it's like I've been wanting more. They have a good win against Notre Dame on the road. They had to scratch and claw for that. But outside of that, they had a little scare against Arkansas, but they haven't really been tested by anybody. You know what I mean? Like, Arkansas.
Their schedule's pretty simple in comparison to some of these other teams.
They get Missouri on the road, then they get South Carolina, Samford, and then gotta go. Jeez. And then they gotta go to Texas. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, what's the next move for A&M? What more do they have to do? And it's like I think at the top 3, I think it's just an eye test, maybe a gut feeling, because it's like they had a good win against The thing about Ohio State is that some people, they know who they are, think that Ohio State's not that good because they don't win by the spread. So dumb. When you watch Ohio State, they are just doing, I hate to say it, they're kind of just going through the motions. They're just trying to get to the Big Ten title game. They're just trying to get to Michigan and hopefully win, which you haven't done in 4 years. So it's like, but when you watch the defense, that's one of the more elite defenses I've seen in college football. Like, they took a UCLA team who was coming in, not UCLA, like they went to Wisconsin and shut them out. They gave belt to ass to Illinois. The Texas game, like, we're seeing Texas starting to come around here. In the Texas game, they won in a defensive battle, and people are like, "Well, Texas stinks." Well, then but Texas is like you can't do that.
6-7, but like, where's the balance?
Yeah, like
is Texas good? Or are you going to rank Texas this high, or does Texas suck and they need to be ranked lower?
And I think for Indiana, you can make the argument for Indiana. Like, Indiana doesn't have that impressive of a schedule either, but they went on the road to Oregon and smoked them. The score made, and then they went to Iowa, beat them, and then they played Illinois and destroyed them. Now, if I'm an Indiana fan, I'm probably being like, hey, man, we have more ranked wins than Ohio State, or the same amount of ranked wins, and we have a common opponent in Illinois, and we beat Illinois by 53 versus Ohio State beat them by like 17.
Right.
I see that argument. I think that's where the head-to-head and the common opponent should matter. But, Mac Rhodes, the head of the committee chair, and ironically the AD of my work university, he was very like, well, when you watch Ohio State, they're incredible defensively.
Right.
And it's like he without saying, it's like the offense is just doing what it needs to do to win. Julian Sand just keeps getting better every single week. And I kept saying it. Like, people were like, well, Julian Sand's bad. I'm like, it's his first game, man. Give him a break. You got to let him grow, man. You got to let him. Same with Arch, man. Arch is grown into a really good, solid quarterback right now. Like, he's starting to get there, and everybody just wants to hate. The only guy I'm hating on is Diego Pavia. Like, he has no business being in this Heisman talk. But I think when you look at it, I just don't know if A&M has done enough since the Notre Dame win. And while the win is impressive, Ohio State and Indiana have more ranked wins, more impressive wins, and more consistency amongst themselves. Like, they didn't have a scare against Arkansas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's where, when you start verbalizing it, it makes sense. It makes sense, and I give a ton of credit to the committee, because I think they actually got most of these rankings correct.
I agree. I think they did really well. And we're gonna have a lot of common opponents that have recently happened again. Like, Indiana plays Penn State this weekend. I don't think Indiana's played Purdue, but a couple big matchups this weekend that'll jump these rankings around. You're gonna have a battle if Mizzou's gonna stay in the rankings. BYU, Texas Tech are gonna play themselves out this this week, and we'll see how the committee weighs match up this heavy late in the season too. We got to see what the result of that is.
And I will say this: people are worried about Texas and Oklahoma, and it's like the SEC bias is real. It's like Texas has to play Georgia, Arkansas, and A&M in their next 3 weeks. So if Texas goes 1-2, they're not going to be in the top 25. Oklahoma has, I think, a gauntlet of Bama, Missouri, and LSU. Like, if you get the Bama win, that's going to put you pretty much in the driver's seat. But if you lose to Bama, will you have enough to get over a team like Tech or BYU with only one loss going into their conference championship? Same with Utah. Utah's only losses are to the 2 Big 12 teams that are ahead of them. And everyone else they play, they blow them out of the water.
Right.
I think you just have some really interesting conversations. I think this is a really interesting conversation for the group of fives as well. Because you got Memphis, James Madison, San Diego State, North Texas, USF. Like, you got all these teams kind of just sitting there fighting for that last group of 5 spot. So I'm really interested to see how that gets decided if one of them aren't ranked. Like, they decided not to rank Memphis. You know? How do you...
Were they in the AP poll?
Yes, they are 22nd in the AP poll, or 23rd.
James Madison was 20 as well. So they're hanging just outside there for some of these people. So that's interesting.
But
very interesting.
I think for those who don't understand, I think for those who don't understand metrics, it's everything is supposed to help you get to the final point. Right? You have to use the metrics to help you make your decision, not use the metrics as the end-all, be-all. To me, what matters, head-to-head, common opponents, how do you look right now? And obviously win-loss. Again, Notre Dame, Miami, both 6-2. They played each other head-to-head, right? But Notre Dame's 2 losses are by a collective 4 points versus Miami's is by a collective 9. And Notre Dame had 2 ranked losses. Miami had 2 unranked losses.
Yeah.
But Jacob, they have 3 ranked wins. Okay. Florida State was never that good. Notre Dame's a good win, and then USF is gross. It's a mid-made. They beat Florida, who was also grossly overrated. And then when you watch it, Notre Dame's just playing way better football than Miami is right now. So simple as that.
I agree.
Simple as well. Let's talk about the NFL trade deadline, my friend. What
crazy?
I think this is one of the more exciting trade deadlines that we were finally got to see, because every year it's like, who do they trade? Who do they trade? Who do they trade? And it's like nothing ever really happens. Nobody gets moved. But
this one,
heck, man, we got some movement. Let's talk about the biggest one. Sauce Gardner going from the Jets to the Indianapolis Colts. The Jets receive A.D. Mitchell, a 2026 first and a 2027 first for Sauce Gardner. Man, oh man.
With as much as that offense has been rolling in some of these games, and the addition on defense, this team's going to make a push, Jacob. Like, I'm convinced this team is making the push to get to the Super Bowl this year. I don't see any way around it. I mean, they could be doing better on the defensive side, but they have elevated themselves on the defensive side now. And especially with teams with good wide receiver cores, the Chiefs, the Texans, Jags can surprise you, the Seahawks, and then the Jags, Texans again. This Colts team is for real. What an acquirement at this point of the season.
Yeah, I think it's an incredible move for a team like that. You go all in. And I love Carly Ursay-Gordon, who's just aggressive at, like, cooking right now. She's exactly what every GM owner should be, is her. Like, an epitome. And if I'm the Jets, I think it's a good understanding that you fumbled the rebuild. Like, if you're a Jets fan, it sucks because you got to go through another rebuild, but they screwed up the rebuild the first time. You went with Zach Wilson, that didn't work out. And then when you bailed on Zach Wilson, you went for an old Aaron Rodgers. He gets hurt, bail on him in a second season, right? And then you opt for Justin Fields. And granted, we talked kind of somewhat highly of Justin Fields in the offseason, thinking he could turn it around.
But they didn't do anything to help that.
But he only has
Garrett, essentially.
He has Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and Mason Taylor, and it's like, well, he can do some stuff, but then the Justin Fields comes out. He just misses throws. He wants to run, and he doesn't. He's like, it's weird. And
I think it's an offensive line issue.
Again, I think that
something
is
that they haven't
too.
addressed in forever.
Yeah, I mean that's also probably a good problem as well, like another problem as well. Yeah, no, I find it interesting, man. I find it super interesting just because it's when you look at the Jets, you're just hitting the reset button. And I think I give them a ton of credit. It's an honest assessment of where you are currently at.
And they gave away Quinnen Williams too. I mean, they're really beefing themselves up for the next two draft years. So, they could have the number 1 overall pick this coming year. They're going to have a top 3 pick more than likely. And then, so that's 2 first-round picks this year. They're going to have 2 or 3 first-round picks next year, barring that they don't make acquirements using those draft picks. And then they have another second-round pick. So with a defensive-heavy draft class, I think coming in this year, it gives them an opportunity to reset on rookie contracts. But it was surprising. I thought it was full bailout mode on your 2 defensive stars.
Yeah.
Like you said, an honest assessment, but very... Wow.
Yeah, no, I think also the Quinnen Williams move is a good haul for the Jets. It's kind of a head-scratching move by Dallas. Like
for another D tackle.
Like you trade away a D tackle and give up a first and a second in a team with a team with one of the worst defenses in the league. Like what? I just don't get it. I guess they realize they don't have a pass rusher, and so they opted for a D tackle. And it's like, well, you know what would have been great if you had a pass rusher is if you had one. His name was Micah Parsons back in the day.
Yeah, nice defensive end, rushing out the side.
Jacoby Myers goes to the Jags. Jags probably with a slight overpay, but they needed a wide receiver. They got a guy who wanted out of the Raiders organization. Jacoby Myers is a good plug-and-play while Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter rehab from injuries.
And
that's just a good fit for them. Loved what the Eagles did, right? They got Jalen Phillips, and all they had to give up was a third-rounder. And honestly, they needed the edge rusher. Like, they lost Nolan Smith, right? Zadarius Smith retired, and then Jalix Hunt didn't really step up. Like, they needed somebody who could get after the quarterback. And they added Phillips with Brandon Graham, who came back. Yeah, it's a good move. It's a good move. They paid the right price, and yeah, it's a really, really good move on their part for what's happening. I think that's an incredible move for the Eagles. They also got Jair Alexander, which is why I'm still like super impressed with what they do.
That's what I was just reading. You said the one you just said was Michael Carter? Question mark? Or what trade did you just go over with the Eagles?
Jalen Phillips.
I'm sorry. I was adding on top then Michael Carter and Jair Alexander to go alongside Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. They were really beefing up that secondary presence. I don't know. It seems a little scary to me. Like, they might be a team down the stretch here who's got offenses in a defensive stronghold. Like it kind of seems like they're back into this with their requirements. It seems like this late season Eagles team of last year where they were just dominating on the defensive front. So, I mean, they've got to have more production on their front seven, but it looks like their secondary is going to be very scary with the push towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I love what Seattle did as well. They got Rashid Shaheed from the Saints while Cooper Kupp recovers from a hamstring injury. Now they have a guy that can push the deep threat and push vertically. Really, really good stuff on that front there. But one of the more exciting trade deadlines that we've had in the last
for sure
several years.
Nope, I definitely agree. The NFL will be coming to a roaring end here. It's gonna be a lot to keep up with, but we'll have you all covered here when it does happen.
Yeah. So Dodgers, DJ, MLB World Series champions, the first back-to-back winner in 25 years.
It's my fault, guys.
It is DJ's fault.
I'm going to display whichever side of the screen I'm on. I'm not going to be so confident. I'll read you the text. I sent Jacob here texts asking who's covering Toronto as they were up in the top of the ninth. And in the following text, in the same minute, like I looked at the text and I was like, shit, I need to change the language on that. And even sent hashtag no jinx.
Too late.
Sent, it delivered, and then just like I look at the TV and who hit the game tying home run? I don't know. Was it
Miguel Rojas?
Miguel Rojas crushed it. Crushed a home run. And I was like, oh no, it's my fault. And Jacob over here aggressively more superstitious than I even knew, because I'm superstitious but not super, but like I knew I messed up with my text. Like I knew I sent it and I was like immediately, Jacob, like you can't, like you gotta give me some credit here. Like I knew the mistake. It just wasn't fast enough. The process there just wasn't fast enough to recover. It was already written into the stars.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
You should be. It's a frustrating endeavor. It was not fun at all. Not sure what else. Credit to the Dodgers, man. Credit to the Dodgers.
They fought. Would you say that this was like the most entertaining Game 7 that you've ever seen?
In baseball, yeah.
The only one I can think of
because you go to extras.
The Cubs, Cleveland.
Yeah, Cubs, Indians.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that one.
That one.
But maybe the drama behind this one, Yamamoto coming in and pitching, what was it, 2 2/3, off of no rest.
Yeah, man, man, it's just brutal, man. Jeff Hoffman, who is so good all year, gets beat by Miguel Rojas. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa with a sliding glove chose to slide feet first instead of head first.
What horrible base running.
Terrible base running. He didn't take an aggressive lead.
Need to be aggressive.
Yeah.
Like nobody picks over to third, especially not
bases loaded.
In the bottom.
Like he should have been more aggressive. He should have dove for head first. It's such a hard thing to be like looking back, like it's such in the moment, but like it's so egregious that you're gonna be haunted by that forever if you're a Toronto fan. And give them the Dodgers credit, man. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts, man. When you think you have them, you gotta kill them.
You gotta put them away.
You gotta make sure they're not breathing. And it just kept getting worse for the Blue Jays. Talking about Jeff Hoffman giving up the home run, and then Miguel Rojas in both sides, and then the minute they brought in Yamamoto, I was like, they're kind of cooked. Vladdy did some good things, but they just couldn't get it done, man. I still question the Yasevich move, bringing a guy in like that who's so young out of the pen. I get he was a stud in Game 6, but I don't know or Game 5, I don't know if you do that move. Yeah, man, and credit to the Dodgers. It's a frustrating endeavor, and I think the question, again, still becomes, did the Dodgers ruin baseball? And I think we said on the last show they haven't, because they're willing to spend. But again, if they continue to get some of these superstars, the MLB has to step in, because it's like a monopoly at this point. They spent $1.2 billion on the rotation. They played every single one of those Glasnow, Schnell, Yamamoto, and Ohtani. But it was just good work, man. They played well. They had some key guys come in. Credit to Dave Roberts giving Miguel Rojas a chance. He put in Andy Pages in the outfield, and he made a clutch catch at the wall. But yeah, the Dodgers are your World Series champion. But that was one of the better World Series I've seen in the last couple years. That was a phenomenal World Series. Phenomenal. Yeah. Honestly, it was a really good playoffs.
So good. It was so good. I mean, there were some moments in there, or a couple series here and there, but I mean, the Blue Jays really played their tail off too, and they had the opportunities to win too. So like I can't look at this and be like, yes, they paid to have that player on their team, but the way that they stretched everybody that they paid on that team, it was just incredible. Like to think Yamamoto would come back and pitch the amount that he did, especially not after not thinking he would, like that's worth you couldn't ask more from a player. Like they're not taking rest days, unnecessary, injury time off or basic time off. Like, yes, they've got just weapon after weapon, but when your weapon is tired and you can go back to your weapon and then execute, like can you blame the Dodgers for spending that money? I do believe that there's an issue, but I'm just aggressively impressed with how they used everybody that they paid, and it was just an incredible series. And not to mention that Toronto is number 5 in their payroll this year too in baseball. You know, they stuck in there again. They had the opportunity to win, and just couldn't get it done. Couldn't get it done. Day late and a dollar short.
Yep.
Well, a few tens of millions short. Sorry to those that were rooting for Toronto, like I was. It's my fault.
As long as you know, DJ. As long as you know.
Brutal.
Well, DJ, I guess, do we want to talk some hoop? You haven't watched any college basketball, which is a shame. So we can't talk about that. Which you need to get into. You need to get into it. Like, why aren't we into college basketball?
Because it's just a lot.
And you're saying the NBA isn't?
I'm not as in tune with the NBA. I'd rather be more in tune with college basketball. College basketball would definitely entice me more. I've seen some of the highlights, and I'll get into it more. But with all the other games and all the other things that have been going on, it's just taking a back seat. You know, I'll make an effort. I'll make an aggressive effort this year to try to get into college basketball more. How about that? That's what I can do for you.
Wow, DJ, you honor me so much with that. Well, what do you want to talk about now? Shockingly, we hit our 3 topics in 40 minutes. We have 15 minutes to just kind of BS around, I guess. Monday was super impressive. Florida Gators, man, did not look too good on.
I know they didn't look good against Arizona.
Tommy Hott.
They missed the wide open corner 3.
Tommy Hott's got to be more aggressive if he's going to try and step into like an alpha guard role for the Florida Gators this season. Kobe Pete is legit. That kid is so good. This is a really good freshman class too. See, this is why you got it. Is
that the BYU guy?
No, that's AJ DeBansa.
Well, who's the Koya kid?
Koya Pete of Arizona. He played y'all.
Y'all, like I'm a Gator fan.
Brother, you went to the Final Four supporting the Gators last year.
I did a story about Gators traveling.
Okay, whatever you need to do to justify it. Well, I
called
mean,
it from the start.
I will say,
college basketball to know that I called that shit from a long time ago, Jacob.
Well, I did say Tommy Hott needs to step up. He did have 27, but I wasn't in love with the guard play. He shot 25 from 3. I think he needs to be more aggressive from that. Well,
he was struggling down low too. Even like I think he missed
shot
like
12. He shot 14 free throws. I mean, Koa Pete had 30 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and a block. Shot no three-pointers. Shot 60% inside the field. Just gave you buckets. Aiden Bradley gave you 27. They only shot. What does it look like? They shot 5 threes from Arizona. They just killed y'all in the paint. And then you guys shot 27 threes and shot 25%. So, like, I'm not going to say it's a death by 1,000 paper cuts, but if you get dominated...
Will Richards and, oh my gosh, who was the other kid from last year? Mr. Clutch.
Clayton.
Walter Clayton Jr. I mean, I think they definitely missed them down the stretch, and it seemed, based on what I saw, that that's what they were missing, right? Like, they clawed back. They got it within 3. They got the steal on the inbound. Like, the defense towards the end of the game was incredible. And then when they got the steal off the inbound and they missed the wide open 3 in the corner, that was all momentum gone. That was their game-tying 3, and they lived and died by that sword right there. And he missed, airballed, I believe, nonetheless. And
I will say BYU took down the Villanova Wildcats. Villanova looked good though. I will say they
both of those teams looked good.
For a smaller team that I think Villanova probably wants. They rebounded the ball really well, but BYU just played some good defense, and the Villanova offensive sets kind of stalled out towards the end of the game. But Villanova showed up there in the second half. I think Villanova is going to be a bright spot in the Big East. BYU is going to be BYU. They're going to be really good. But defensively, Kita and DeBansa just stepped up where they needed to and really helped them out. Auburn had a scare against Bethune-Cookman going to overtime in the first game of the Stephen Pearl era. If you're Auburn, you are...
Is that waving a flag right there?
You better be concerned.
Well, I feel like there were a couple close games. I'm going through some of these and also ones that I saw, and I'm like, Mercer kept it within 15 of Tennessee, and then Colgate kept it within 11 on Michigan State. Is that any cause for concern for any of these teams at this point? I know it's the first week of the year, but like some of these teams are supposed to be blown out of the water. Like that's why you schedule them at this juncture, right? Like is a team like Auburn gonna just kind of panic, or is that just a punch in the face? Or are we gonna go out and say like this team just has a lot of figuring out to do?
I think they have a lot of figuring out to do. I think Stephen Pearl's not ready for it. Auburn, the way Bruce Pearl stepped down forced Auburn's hand because they did not want Stephen Pearl to be the head coach. And what Bruce Pearl did is he waited until like right before the training camp started and was like, it's no longer my problem. Like you can't go get another coach. So you just got to use Stephen. And I don't think he's ready for it. I think the moment and the stage is a little too big for him. So yeah, if I'm him, punching a little bit way out of your league right now. So
fair enough. And what about some of these other teams like I said, like Tennessee and Michigan State? That again, they weren't as close
Michigan
as obviously.
State can't hit a three-pointer to save their life right now. It's the same issues they had last year. I was super impressed with Duke on Tuesday night. I thought the Boozer twins looked solid, but I was more impressed with, I think his name's Isaiah Evans. He had 14 first-half points. I was super impressed with him. Purdue is just super solid. They know what they have to do. But yeah, I was super impressed with what we had. Thursday, nothing crazy. The Friday, tonight, you get Kansas at North Carolina. It's going to be a big game.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the big game on the slate. On Saturday, you get Arkansas at Michigan State, Alabama at St. John's. Like, those are massive, massive games. Oklahoma goes to Gonzaga. That's a sneaky game to kind of keep an eye on, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some big games to kind of keep your finger on the pulse around. Baylor on Sunday has to take on a Washington team, both with kind of bubble aspirations, almost it feels like, for some odd reason in the media. And that's going to be a big one, right? So it's going to be an interesting mix on the season. I mean, it's week one. No one needs to overreact. There's still so much season left. No need to react yet. Who you are in November is not who you're going to be in February and in March. Look at Florida. Florida started the year unranked and then became a winner. Just something to keep an eye on throughout the college basketball season.
I totally agree. I mean, that's really all I got, Jacob, unless you wanted to go into any Heisman talk or NHL talk.
Nope. I got nothing
that would
here.
be backtracking.
I said we had a lot to cover. I guess we didn't really have a lot. I mean, we covered everything we needed to.
Yeah. I mean
the NFL, the trades were the big thing. Nothing crazy really happened over the weekend.
We didn't talk about Jaden Daniels either.
That was so dumb. That was so dumb. That's just Dan Campbell being an idiot. He knows it. Everyone knows it. It's a shame that happened, but it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. I'll tell you what, man. The Patriots look good, man. They do what they have to do to win. The defense looks good. Drake May. I told everybody my favorite quarterback in that draft class was Drake May. Not Caleb, not Jaden. It was Drake May. Now, all three of them have looked really good. But I was a Drake May believer, a Drake May truther. It was just Gerard Mayo could not be the coach. Mike Vrabel being the coach is great move for them. And they have such an easy schedule the rest of the way. I'm shocked Miami didn't blow it up more than they are. Like, I know they traded away Jalen Phillips, but I'm surprised they didn't, trade away Bradley Chubb, trade away some other pieces, right?
Right.
I'm a little, maybe Achan or somebody like that, so I'm a little surprised by that.
Mm-hmm.
If we had to give that a comparison here, but
to your Vikings too.
That was a gutsy win by J.J. McCarthy. He made good throws. The offense did what they had to do. The defense showed up.
The defense was stellar.
Special teams, it was a total team win. And then J.J. back shoulder throw on third down to Nails. It was impressive. Impressive win. I think JJ's starting to get more comfortable in the offense. He's looking healthy. I'm really excited. I still think JJ's going to be good, man. Everyone's doubting him, but he's a winner, man. He's a winner. He finds ways to win, and he does it.
The offensive line needs to step up is what needs to happen.
Yeah, but they did good, man. They gave him time. Aiden Hutchinson didn't have as big of an impact as I thought he was going to have. So
see, I looked at it and I was like, I felt like your offensive line did good, and they gave up 5 sacks for 27 yards. That was worse than I thought. But I mean, I guess good battling through that. Yeah. It seemed like a great team win. But I'm trying to think of any other games that I was like, utter Bengals collapse, arguably the worst defense I've ever seen in my entire life.
It was such a weird game. The Bengals fought all the way back to get the lead, and then 4 dudes couldn't tackle Colston Loveland, and then you lose. So that you got to be infuriated if you're a coach, right? I think the Zach Taylor experiment has run its course. Get him out of Cincinnati. Get a new coach. It's run its course, man. It's run its course over there. The Rams destroy the Saints. The Saints are pitiful. The Seahawks and Sam Darnold look impressive. Impressive. I like the way they're playing. I like the way they look.
JSN is a dog.
JSN's a dog. Darnold's really consistent. The Packers with a shocking loss to the Panthers. The Panthers look good, man. You know what they realized? If you give the ball to Rico Dowdle, you win. 130 yards.
Look at the pop off from him since his trade. It's been insane.
I know. Falcons still blow my mind at their 3-5, man. Still blow my mind. The Niners are just surviving, advancing, and just absolutely just trying to burn Christian McCaffrey to the ground. Broncos looked solid. And then the Cardinals took down the Cowboys, which was kind of surprising.
I watched that game.
Did you see this?
That ankle break?
No, not that. I didn't see that.
Oh.
I didn't watch. It's more like, did you see the I was doing other stuff on Monday. I was at the Baylor game.
Hold on, pause. Before you figure that out, switching tables here. Oh, I'm about to panic about it. We're charged. Okay, what did I see?
That Kyler Murray is now on the IR. Because guess what? Jacoby Brissett has unlocked Marvin Harrison Jr. and knows how to run the offense, unlike Kyler Murray. I told everyone Kyler Murray was not that good. For those who have been OG listeners, I appreciate you. But he just doesn't. He likes to scramble. He doesn't throw it with anticipation in the pocket, and that's what Marvin Harrison needs, is a guy in the pocket.
Right.
So.
No, he put somebody on their ass this weekend, Jacob. I mean, one-on-one, on the goal line. I think it was on the 7-yard line. Did just a pivot out and then went back in. Made him touch earth. Touch earth. Are you looking it up?
No, I'm on a different page.
No, I mean, just one of the filthiest things, one of the filthiest moves that I've ever seen. And for the lack of attention that it got as well. I mean, CeeDee Lamb on the field was astonished about it, but just like a complete ankle break, like a basketball ankle break type of move, Jacob. It was quite insane, and I'm happy to see Marvin Harrison, coming back into form after a rough start to the season. So, but like you said, Jacoby Brissett unlocking new things for him, a new life. So,
well, DJ, I think we've covered it all. We've done what we needed to. So yeah, he has been Mr. DJ the Magnificent McCatherine. I have been Jacob Prero. We have been to deal with D and J.